Look at this face. 78 years of living, and I'm still wearing a mask. Not the kind you can take off at the end of the day. The kind that fused to your skin so long ago, you forgot there was ever a face underneath. My children are 45 and 42 years old. Successful, good people. They call me every Sunday at 2 p.m., like clockwork. We talk for exactly 11 minutes. They ask how I'm doing, I say fine. They tell me about their lives, I say that's good. Then we hang up, and they have no idea who they just talked to. I'm 78 years old and I'm a stranger to my own children, not because I was absent. I was there. Every dinner, every parent-teacher conference, every graduation, physically present for all of it. But I was never actually there. Today, I want to tell you about the most insidious way you can lose your children, not through absence, not through anger, but through perfection, through hiding, through playing a role so convincingly that your own kids never meet the real you. And when they finally want to, it's too late, because you don't even remember who that person was. It started when I was young. My father, he was what they called a man's man in the 1950s. He didn't hug, he didn't cry, he didn't share his feelings, his fears, his doubts. He was a rock, unmovable, unshakable, strong. And I thought, that's what a father is supposed to be. So when I had my first child, Michael, in 1979, I put on the mask of the perfect father, strong, wise, in control, never uncertain, never weak, never human. I remember the first time Michael asked me a question I didn't know the answer to. He was maybe 6 years old. "Dad, why do people die?" I didn't know how to answer that. I was terrified of death. Still am. I had nightmares about it, anxiety about it, but I couldn't tell him that, because fathers have all the answers, right? So I gave him some generic answer about it's just the way life works, and changed the subject. I should have said, "I don't know, son, and that scares me too. Let's figure it out together." But I didn't. I couldn't. The mask wouldn't let me. That was the first brick in a wall that would eventually separate us forever. I was raised in a generation where men didn't have emotions. Oh, we had anger. That was acceptable. You could be angry at the game on TV, angry at traffic, angry at work. But sad, scared, lonely, confused, those weren't masculine. Those were weak. So I buried them, every single one. When my mother died in 1987, I cried once, alone, in my car, for maybe 5 minutes. Then I pulled myself together, went home, told the kids, "Grandma passed away. The funeral is Saturday." My daughter Emily, she was 10 years old. She looked at me with these big, scared eyes and said, "Daddy, are you sad?" I said, "I'm fine, sweetheart. Grandma lived a good life." But I wasn't fine. I was devastated. I was broken. I wanted to fall on the floor and sob. I wanted to tell my children, I'm terrified, because if my mother can die, that means I can die. That means you can die, and I don't know how to handle that. But the mask said, "Be strong. Don't burden them. That's what fathers do." So Emily learned that day. Dad doesn't get sad. Dad doesn't need comfort. Dad is fine, always fine. 20 years later, when her marriage fell apart, she didn't call me. She called her mother, because she had learned Dad doesn't do emotions. Dad doesn't understand pain. And she was right, because I had spent so long hiding my pain, I didn't know how to hold space for hers. I was scared all the time of everything. Scared I wasn't a good enough father, scared I was failing at work, scared of getting old, scared of being alone, scared of dying with regrets. But I never told anyone, especially not my children. I remember when Michael was applying to colleges. He came to me, stressed, overwhelmed. He said, "Dad, what if I don't get in anywhere? What if I'm not good enough?" I could have told him the truth. I could have said, "Son, I feel that way every single day. I wake up at 3 a.m. wondering if I'm good enough, if I'm doing this right, if I'm enough." Instead, I said, "You'll be fine. You're smart. Stop worrying." I shut him down because the perfect father doesn't have doubts. The perfect father has it all figured out. So Michael learned, don't bring your fears to Dad. Dad doesn't understand. Dad has never been scared. Now he's 45 years old. He doesn't call when he's struggling. He calls when things are fine, surface level fine, because I taught him that's all I can handle. I wanted to be a writer. Did you know that? Probably not, because I never told anyone, not my wife, not my children, no one. I used to write short stories in college. I was pretty good, I think. My English professor told me I had talent, told me to keep writing, that I had something to say. But writing doesn't pay the bills. Writing isn't practical. Writing isn't what a responsible father and husband does. So I became an accountant, safe, stable, respectable, and I put the stories in a box in the attic, along with my dreams, along with a part of myself. My children have no idea their father ever wanted to be anything other than an accountant. They don't know I have notebooks filled with half-finished stories. They don't know that sometimes late at night I still think about the books I'll never write. I showed them the mask, the practical father, the responsible provider. I never showed them the dreamer, the artist, the part of me that wondered, what if? So they know the mask, but they don't know me. I never let my children see me fail, ever. I never told them about the promotion I didn't get, the presentation I bombed, the friend who betrayed me, the investment I lost money on, the time I got fired and had to scramble for 3 months to find a new job. I hid all of it because the perfect father doesn't fail. The perfect father has it all together. When Michael started his first business and it failed, he didn't tell me for 6 months. 6 months? He struggled alone, lost sleep, lost money, nearly lost his marriage. And when he finally told me, you know what I said? Well, you'll bounce back. You always do. Encouraging words, right? Supportive father. But what he needed, what he actually needed, was for me to say, I've failed too, son. I've failed so many times. Let me tell me about the time I lost $30,000 on a business deal I was too proud to walk away from. Let me tell you about the shame, the fear. Let me tell you, you're not alone. But I couldn't, because I had never told him any of that. I had spent his entire life pretending I was bulletproof. So when he wasn't bulletproof, he thought he was defective because his father never struggled. His father never failed, except I did. All the time. I just never let him see it. I was lonely for decades. In a house full of people, I was profoundly, achingly lonely because nobody knew me. Nobody really knew me. My wife knew the husband, the provider, the partner. But did she know the scared little boy who still missed his father? Did she know about the recurring nightmare I've had since I was 12? Did she know that I sometimes cry when I hear certain songs? No, because I never told her. My children knew the father, the authority figure, the one with the rules and the expectations. But did they know I was terrified of being a bad father? Did they know I made it up as I went along? Did they know there were nights I stood outside their bedroom doors, listening to them sleep, wondering if I was enough? No, because I never showed them. I built this perfect image, the strong father, the man who had it all together. And I was so successful at it that I trapped myself inside it. Nobody asked me how I really was because they thought I was always fine. Nobody shared their deepest fears with me because I had never shared mine. Nobody really knew me because I had never really let them. I was lonely in a crowded room for 40 years. My wife passed away 3 years ago. Heart attack. Sudden. She was here one day and gone the next. At the funeral, my children gave beautiful eulogies. They talked about what an amazing mother she was, how she was always there for them, how she listened, how she understood, how she showed them it was okay to be imperfect, to struggle, to be human. Then Emily said something that broke me. She said, "Mom taught us that it's okay to not have all the answers, that it's okay to be scared, that being vulnerable is being brave." And I realized she was talking about lessons I never taught them because I had spent their entire lives pretending I had all the answers, pretending I was never scared, hiding my vulnerability. After the funeral, we went back to the house, my adult children, their families. We sat in the living room where I'd raised them, and I looked at them, really looked at them, and I realized they were strangers to me, and I was a stranger to them. We shared DNA. We shared a home. We shared 30-some years of memories, but they didn't know me, the real me. The scared, flawed, confused, dreaming, broken, beautiful mess of a human being underneath the mask, because I never showed him that person. Michael came over last week, Tuesday afternoon. He's working from home now, so he stops by sometimes. We had coffee, talked about the weather, about his kids, about work. Surface level, always surface level. And I wanted to say, Michael, I'm scared of dying. I wake up every morning wondering if this is the day. And I'm not scared of the pain. I'm scared that I'll die and you'll never really know who I was. That you'll give a eulogy about the perfect father who had it all together. And that man never existed. He was just a mask I wore because I didn't know how to be anything else. I wanted to say, I failed so many times, son, at work, at marriage, at being a father. I pretended I didn't, but I did. And I'm sorry I never told you because you failed too and you felt alone. And you weren't alone. I was right there, hiding my failures just like you learned to hide yours. I wanted to say, I have dreams I never chased, regrets that keep me up at night, fears that paralyze me, joy so profound I sometimes cry. I'm not the stone you think I am. I'm just a person, a scared, imperfect, struggling person just like you. But I didn't say any of that. I said, coffee's good. Thanks for stopping by. Because 78 years of wearing a mask, you forget how to take it off. Do you want to know the cruelest irony? I wore the mask to be a good father, to be strong for them, to be what I thought they needed. And in doing so, I gave them everything except the one thing they actually needed. Me, the real me. Now I'm 78. They're adults with their own lives. And when they think of their father, they think of the man who never struggled, who never doubted, who never cried, who never dreamed, who never failed, who never felt. That's not a man. That's a statue. And you can't hug a statue. You can't confide in a statue. You can't really love a statue, because love requires knowing someone. And they never knew me. I sacrificed connection for the illusion of strength. I sacrificed intimacy for the appearance of perfection. I sacrificed being known for being respected. And now I have their respect. They think I'm a good man, a good father, but I don't have their knowing. I don't have their trust. Not really, not the deep kind, the kind where you call at 2 a.m. because you're falling apart, the kind where you share your darkest thoughts because you know the other person has them too. I have Sunday phone calls, polite conversations, surface-level relationships with people I would die for because they know the mask, but they never knew me. If I could go back to 1985, when Michael was 6 and asked me why people die, I would say, I don't know, buddy, and that scares me. Death scares me. But you know what? We can be scared together. If I could go back to 1987, when my mother died and Emily asked if I was sad, I would say, yes, sweetheart, I'm devastated. Come here, let's cry together. If I could go back to 1995, when Michael came to me scared about college, I would say, son, I'm scared every single day. I'll wake up feeling not good enough. You come by it honestly. Let me tell you about fear and how I'm learning to live with it. If I could go back to any moment, I would take off the mask. I would show them the man underneath. The flawed, uncertain, dreaming, failing, crying, scared, beautiful human being. I would show them it's okay to not have all the answers. I would show them strength isn't the absence of fear. It's being afraid and showing up anyway. I would show them that fathers are just people, imperfect people trying their best. I would let them know me, but I can't go back. The moments are gone. The children are grown. The mask is permanent now. If you have young children, if they're 5, 10, 15, they still think you're perfect. They still think you have it all figured out. Show them you don't. Tell them when you're scared. Share your doubts. Let them see you fail and get back up. Cry in front of them. Tell them your dreams, even the ones you didn't chase. Show them your humanity, because perfect fathers raise children who are terrified of being imperfect. But human fathers raise children who know it's okay to be human. If you have adult children and you've been wearing a mask, it's not too late, not completely. Pick up the phone. Tell them the truth. I've been pretending for so long, I forgot how to be real. But I want you to know me, the real me. Can we start over? It will be awkward. It will be hard. They might not know what to do with it. But it's still better than dying with your mask on. I'm 78 years old. I'm sitting in an empty house with children who love me, but don't know me. And that is entirely my fault. I chose the mask. I chose the performance. I chose safety over vulnerability, perfection over connection. And I lost them, not to death or distance. I lost them to pretending. Don't do what I did. Let your children see you fail. Let them see you cry. Let them see you scared and uncertain and beautifully, messily human. Because the greatest gift you can give them isn't the image of a perfect father. It's the truth of an imperfect one. Be known. While there's still time, I'm 78 years old, and I wish my children knew who I really am. Thank you for listening to an old man's confession. If this reached you, please don't make my mistake. Subscribe to walk this journey with me. Share this with a father who needs to hear it, and most importantly, go take off your mask today. Leave a comment telling me, what's one truth you've been hiding from your children? Let's practice being real together. God bless. And please, let yourself be known.